And welcome in to our Sunday Habs edition of the Sick Podcast, Recruits Draftcast. The Habs just lost 4-2 to the Winnipeg Jets. However, Lane Hutson got his first NHL goal, so we're going to talk about that. Of course, Laval Rocket also lost 4-2 to the Wolfpack. Maybe some goaltending concerns down in Laval now. Bit of a wonky situation. Of course, the main topic of today's show, as per usual, is our Insta Customs Habs prospect of the week. And Grant worked a lot to give us an idea, a general overlook of how every Habs prospect is doing at the moment. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, Grant, let's get started.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to the Sick Podcast. Recruits Draftcast.
With our first pick in the 2022 NHL Draft, les Canadiens de Montréal sont fiers de repêcher from the Slovakian national team and TPS Turku, Juraj Slafkovsky.
The sickest NHL draft and scouting podcast. It's gonna be sick.
Producer Shane here, joined as always by the very hard-working Grant McCagg. Grant, how are we feeling today?
Very busy. I just did some. I studied all of the players drafted in the last 2 years by the Habs, and there was quite a few of them. So
Yeah,
I wrote up little spiels on each of them, studied their recent games, their points, got a few videos. So once a month, I think we should do a recap on the Habs prospects. I've had a lot of people saying, "Oh, they don't see much, because last year when I had Recruits website going, I would do a lot of recaps and stuff, and so I figured why not do it on our Sunday show once a month? So people tune in. I'll give you a heads up, and we'll fill you in on how the drafted prospects are doing, because there was a lot of stuff that I didn't know about once I got dug into it a bit. Oh, okay. Now I'm up to date. So I look forward to filling people in on how the crew is doing.
that's awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to hear what you have to say. But Grant, I'm also looking forward to hear what you have to say regarding Team Canada for the World Juniors. Now, we all know that's coming up now in about 11 days. December 26th in Ottawa, the tournament gets underway, and Team Canada made their final cuts. They have announced their official roster, and there has been a lot of thumbs down following those announcements. Notable cuts. I mean, Beckett Seneca, Zane Parekh, Matthew Wood, Andrew Crystal, all of which did not make the team. It's a lot of people scratching their heads, lots of confusion. Can you help us understand, or are you just as confused as we are?
Yeah. Well, it's mostly Seneca that I just, how can you not watch that kid in a camp even and still decide, well, okay, no. Like, Dave Cameron bitter about how good Seneca was against 67s last year in the playoffs. Like, did he watch that game with his back turned to the ice, or that series? Because Seneca, he was dominant.
Yeah.
He showed in the playoffs last year when the games were big, when you needed to step up. He was the best player in the OHL playoffs last year, including against Dave Cameron's Ottawa 67s. So, usually the guys that get cut are from other leagues that you don't know. Dave Cameron knows damn well how good Beckett Seneca is. He's seen him, I don't know how many times now in the last 2 years, and took him to camp and still cut him. I know I said a few weeks back, I don't criticize the picks, or everybody's deserved, and everyone that's on the team, nobody deserved to get cut. So it's tough. They're all good players. Matthew Wood even got cut, and he played last year.
Yeah, he was one of the returnees.
you don't normally. It's rare that they do that too. And some of the guys they kept, I wouldn't have. I mean, I would have had definitely would have had Seneca on the team. And I think Parekh for the power play would have been good. But as we discussed the other day, Schaefer and Dickinson can, and I guess they plan on having a forward at the other point on the power play. So, there's your 2 power play defensemen for the World Juniors, I guess. So, I mean, the team's good. It's great. They'll be tough to beat, but I certainly, as I said, that okay, well, once they get a look at him at camp, Seneca, they're okay. Well, we can't cut this guy, but they did it. They did. I don't know if it was there was a lot of heat. I mean, he had 14 points in 3 games after the cuts. So we'll to try to calm things down a bit, let things die down a bit. Well, we still we had a close look at him, and no, just as we suspected, he's not good enough. And hope that people, okay, well, they would know best. But anyway, every year there's a couple guys. So it's just it's the way when your team's as deep as Canada is, it's the way it is. And as passionate as we are, there's going to be, people like me especially are going to be upset. But as a scout too, like, it's almost an insult to the scouts, to the scouting profession, that, 3rd overall pick. Scouts love them. But no. 15th overall pick's better. 8th overall pick's better. They're not. Luchenko and Catley aren't better players than Beckett Seneca. They won't be better NHLers, that's for sure. But that's the thing, right? You're not picking a team to go to an NHL playoff. You're picking a team that you think will win the World Juniors. But I still think that they're undersized, and it gets down to a gold medal game. Like, even Sweden's a lot bigger team than this year.
Yeah, they're good.
And they'll be tough to beat. I think they're heavier. Who's which of those undersized centers is going to lean on David Edstrom? He's in front of the net. He's in the crease area. 6'3", big kid. Which one of them's going to handle him? Cole Baudouin made the team, right?
Yeah. So
I'm glad that, like, that's the one that I think they're gonna task him and Luchenko with trying to. Luchenko's just all around good enough, like, even though he's undersized. He those 2 guys, I think, will be tasked with trying to handle the other teams defensively. Because I love Berkeley Catton, but he's not a defensive center.
No.
It'll be interesting to see how they match things up. But yeah, it's the same thing every year. There's always guys that you scratch your head a bit over, but it just goes to show you that Canada's loaded, and there will always be tough cuts to make. And I'm glad I've never have to pick a team, because even if whenever I made my predictions or whatever, there were guys that, geez, I'd hate to have to cut him.
Yeah.
So, it's the way it is. But hey, the fact that Matthew Wood got cut tells you that they really like, the guys that they included, and they're going with it. They think this is the group. And I mean, kids like Tanner Howe, again, he's undersized, but he's such a gamer. We've seen the US in the past few years with undersized teams really do well. If you got that and you got skill, that can overcome lack of size sometimes too, right? So
yeah,
I think Canada's maybe following that pattern a little bit and look and say, well, the US, had teams with 8, 5'9", 5'10" guys or shorter, and did really well. So maybe you don't in this type of event, maybe you don't need a huge team to always to win. So it's going to be an interesting tournament. We'll see if the strategy pays off for them.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we'll be following along right here on the Sick Podcast, Recruits Draftcast, starting December 26th in Ottawa. The World Juniors are underway. So stay tuned for that. We're going to talk a whole lot more about it. But of course, Sundays are for the Habs here. And the Habs played last night in Winnipeg, coming out with a loss. I think no one's really surprised. Good effort, however, better effort than against Pittsburgh. But the main storyline here, the main takeaway, of course, is Lane Hutson gets his first NHL goal against arguably the best goaltender in the league. I mean, it's not a fluky goal. It's not an empty netter, didn't deflect off anybody, just pure snipe against Connor Hellebuyck. How sweet is that?
Yeah, well, I think it'll boost his confidence. He cleanly beat arguably the best goalie in the league with a goal. So maybe that gets him rolling with, they've been saying that he's been working on his shot practice over and, because he just he'd been getting the chances, but just not putting it in. So you could tell by the smile on his face that was relief for him. Mm-hmm. I mean, when you got 19 apples and no goals, it's, there's a little bit of imbalance there. So he probably should have a half dozen already this year with a bit of luck. So nice to see him. Not that it matters that much. I know I texted Rob Hutson a week or two back and was saying, I think tonight's the night that Lane gets it. And he said, he could get no goals, and 100 assists. I'd be fine with that, or 80 assists. Like, exactly. A point's a point, right? Doesn't matter how many goals he's got, but you don't want a goose egg for the year, right? And that's not going to be the case. So he's got a goal, and the first of many. He'll score plenty in the NHL. Absolutely. And nice to see him get that one. I thought the main takeaway from the game was that the Habs got yet another penalty in the last 5 minutes when they're down a goal. It seems like every single time. And it's refs too. The refs have absolutely no issue with giving the Habs a penalty in the last 5 minutes. I'd love to see the stats for teams, because if there's another team that gets as many, when they're trailing by a goal, it gets as many penalties against them in the last 5 minutes, I'd be shocked, because it's got to be about the 8th time this year alone that it's happened. The refs got absolutely no qualms with giving Montreal, when they're trailing by a goal in the last 5 minutes, give them a penalty. In fact, I think they just, come on, do something. Look at them the wrong way so we can call you a penalty here. Yeah. It's frustrating. And it's Gallagher too. I remember last year, I don't know how many times in 1-goal games where he got a penalty in the last 5 minutes. Yeah, I remember. It got to a point finally where Marty had enough and benched him, or demoted him. He'd been good so far this year with it, but creeped in again, last night with that. They got to stop taking penalties when they're down a goal late in the game. It's been repetitive this year, and it's frustrating because it basically the end of the game. What was there, 3.5 minutes left? You're down a goal and you get a penalty. It just kills you. So you can't pull the goalie, with 3 minutes left like teams usually do now. Yeah. You got to wait till the last minute, and then it's too late. So yeah, that's frustrating that they keep getting penalties in the last few minutes when they're down a goal. It's got to stop.
No doubt about that. But next game against Buffalo, a team that's been struggling mightily, like for the last 20 years or so. That team is just it's so sad. Honestly, it's sad at this point. Like I feel bad for the fan base. I feel bad for the team, the organization. There's something wrong in Buffalo, but again, they're the Habs' next opponent, so hopefully they can capitalize on their struggles and get back in the
Losing
win column.
atmosphere, right? Like
I guess so.
that's why I don't want Montreal to keep, tanking every year. People, let's get a top. No, because the atmosphere becomes one of a losing mentality.
Yeah.
Buffalo has proven that for the past 15 years. They've had how many top 10 picks? How many first
Too
overall?
many.
How many top? They've had what, 10? And that doesn't matter if you keep losing and everyone just never learns to win. It doesn't, the atmosphere gets toxic. Like Buffalo's the perfect example that there's no guarantee that if you keep getting top 10 picks year after year, that you're going to be a great team eventually. That's not how, there's no set way on how you become a good team. There's a lot of different ways. Obviously trading well, developing well, good coaching, good management. And there's many, many factors. And you look at every Stanley Cup winner in the past 15, 20 years, they all had different. There was no one, it was because they had 5 top 10 picks or, some teams did, some teams didn't. Some teams had a huge defense, had a great defense. Some teams didn't. Some teams had 200-point centermen. Most teams didn't. You can say, well, that's the key to having a Stanley Cup winner. There is no key. It's a lot of different things that come together that, and luck is always involved too. Lack of injuries, all sorts of things. So you just get in the playoffs and you never know what can happen. We saw that with Montreal when they were the 12th place team, the COVID year, where 12th place and they made it to the finals.
Yeah.
Right? They weren't going to, and I keep seeing it, like I said, like a week ago when they were 4 points out of the playoffs. Why aren't they getting a goalie? Why aren't they calling up Beck? Because Doc's not doing it, and he's still not doing it. Stupid penalty last night cost him. Might have cost him the game, really. Again, not winning face-offs. Finally getting Newhook there, but Newhook and Doc aren't doing it either. What, they get 2 goalies. Colorado gets 2 goalies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Wedgwood,
what's Montreal doing? Like Dovish is out. Hughes isn't playing well, so Laval's struggling now. They pulled a goal. You're saying they pulled a goalie last night, right? Well, Primo's not an NHL goalie right now.
No.
Send him to the minors and trade for a goalie. It's not that complicated. Like, it's not going to cost. It's not going to. I know they always say, we whatever to hurt the future. Well, you don't have to surrender a first round pick to get a goalie. Colorado just proved that. They got 2, and then they stand on their heads. They look like superstars playing for their new team. Well, just get a goalie. Like, they want to be in the mix. They keep saying, we're going to be in the mix. We want to be in the mix. And then they don't do anything. They need a right-hand defenseman. They need to call up Beck. They need a goalie. And they haven't done any of that in the last 3. So they don't, what I'm being told, what we're hearing or should understand, I guess, is that they don't want to be in the mix. That they want another high pick this year. Well, fine. Okay. But I just wish that they wouldn't blow smoke saying, we're really going to try to make the playoffs this year, because they're not. They haven't done a thing. They haven't made a move, and it's frustrating. And it frustrated me 2 weeks ago, and it's frustrating me now. Lose 9-2. Oh, life's good. Primo's save percentage is it dead last in the league? It's damn close to it. And then he goes in again, lets in 3 goals and 8 shots, and they still won't. Are they still afraid that someone's going to claim him on waivers? Because what team would that be? No one's claiming him on waivers. You send him to the minors and you pick up a goalie. You try at least. Because, people were saying, you'll never beat Toronto if you make the play. No, they were never going to beat Toronto 3 years ago when they were a 12th place team. They weren't going to beat Toronto. Jack thought, oh, well, they won't beat, like saying to, tweet me, they won't beat Toronto. Well, you don't know. And what did they end up doing? They beat Toronto. They swept Winnipeg. They beat Vegas, who won the Cup a year or two later. Like, get in, and then you never know what happens. And the East is so friggin' bad this year. Even Ottawa now is in the playoff spot.
Whoop.
It's just, it's crazy. Sorry about that. Getting a little excited.
No, I completely concur. It's confusing. I think that's the main point here. I'm not, we're outsiders trying to understand what's going on inside, and at the end of the day, we don't know, but there's probably discussions being had. Hopefully there are. But right now we're not seeing anything, and that's what's puzzling a little bit. But nonetheless, big congrats to friend of the show, Lane Hutson. First NHL goal, well deserved. First of many, like you said. He was, for those who thought he would never score in the NHL, just look at the tape in college. Like he wasn't just a playmaker. This guy put it in the back of the net multiple times. So it's gonna click now, and I'm not worried about it.
Did I get off topic there, do you think?
Still on topic because we're talking Habs.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's worth talking about. I agree.
It's just, I don't know why they haven't done anything in the last 3 weeks, because there's clearly things that need to be done. They need help on the second line somehow, some way. Doc needs to be demoted. He just needs to be. He's not helping the team right now, and it's not helping him to keep putting him out against other teams' top 6 players, because he can't play with them right now. So, but get him on the fourth line, get him better matchups, play him a little less, let him regain his confidence eventually. He's recovering from a knee injury, and he's not the same player he was 2 years ago. It's not even close right now. So it's not just going to flip a switch and he's going to be what he was 2 years ago. It's clear at this point that he's going to need time. He's not going to be close to what he was 2 years ago, I don't think, until next year. It's just not happening. So, I don't know that calling up Beck is, the answer to all of their woes, but you don't know until you at least have a look at him. They looked at Kandata. They looked at Roy. Beck's been out playing both of them this year, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Great that you're letting him, but, and then Pizzetta. They won't play Pizzetta a game. The poor kid. He's a great kid. I would love to see him go somewhere where they'll play him, whether it's, a bottom-ranked team or the AHL or whatever, but you can't sit a guy 20 straight games. It's just not fair to the guy. And I don't know. I think Doc needs to sit a game or two, maybe a few, like let him keep rehabbing, because I think I don't think he's 100%. That's for sure. Bring up Beck, do something with Pizzetta. I don't know. Like, it's just, there are issues there that I wish that they deal with, and they haven't. And I don't think continuing to tank is the answer, as Buffalo has shown time and time again. These guys want to win. You see how happy Cole Caulfield was when Laine scored that goal, and how much, just everybody's happier when you win. You just they don't want to be losing. So help them out. Help the kids out. Give them hope. Give them some, Liney's clearly not going to do it himself. He's not close to 100% either.
No, which is expected.
He can score on the power play, but 5-on-5, he's still got to get in shape. That's pretty noticeable too. When you got him not 100%, playing with Doc, who's not 100%, playing with Newhook, he still doesn't have an assist this year. And that's your second line. Wow. That's why, and then the goaltending too. Those are reasons why they're at the bottom of the standings again. And they seem like they're fixable situations, or at least to a certain degree, but they're, I don't know. I hope Kent's working on something big, because right now it just, he doesn't seem to be acting on any of these things. Hopefully something gives this week. I thought it'd be the week before. I thought it was the week before or something. I think finally you got to get a goalie first and foremost, and we'll see what they do. But I'm hoping. I always love when GMs make moves. It's just because it's you can always speculate and break it down and stuff. And he hasn't done anything since the start of the year. So in that sense, from a selfish standpoint, yeah, exactly. Give us some meat here. Anyway, that's I once again make the plea to Kent and company to get rolling here and try to fix what's a very leaky boat.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the leak is spreading to the AHL. As I mentioned earlier in the show, the Rocket lose again. They were unstoppable to start the season. Now they get brought back down to earth real fast. 4-2 the loss. However, the shots were actually 36-20 in favor of the Rocket. So again, goaltending issues. Look, Connor Hughes has been solid this season. You can't really blame him that much, but he got pulled after like 11 shots. So it's spreading. It's spreading. So like you, I agree. Something needs to be addressed here. Hopefully sooner rather than later. Grant, I do believe we at the part of the show where we're going to talk about our Insta Customs Habs prospect of the week.
Insta Customs Habs prospect of the week.
As per usual, our Insta Customs Habs prospect of the week is proudly brought to you by Insta Customs. Insta Customs is Canada's highest rated custom apparel and drinkware print shop, boasting an impressive 4.9 Google star rating. Whether you need printed or embroidered t-shirts, hoodies, crew necks, hats, and more, they've got you covered. They specialize in emergency rush orders to meet your tight deadlines. While their store is conveniently located on Stanley Street in downtown Montreal, ordering online is so easy. Order today, printed today, pick up or ship today. Visit them at instacustoms.com. It's been a while since we've talked about this young man here because he just hasn't been playing. But luckily, this week he played and he put on quite a show. Our prospect of the week is none other than Ivan Demidov.
Yeah, it was nice to see him, in something other than an SK. Look at that move.
That is crazy.
Can you rewind that, sir?
Gladly.
Okay. But how do you not play that guy? Nope. Top 9 in any league? And then the feed, eh?
Wow.
This is that 3-on-3 tournament that they're Challenge One Cup or whatever, One Channel Cup. And he was excellent. He ended up winning MVP. Should have had one there. Didn't quite pull it off, but here was a penalty shot.
Automatic.
Beautiful. He's got a great shot too, as you can see. Stuck it in between the right in between the arm and the pad. Bing. But as you can see by these, he was pretty dangerous. I like how he came back here too. And Check out this play here. Nice. So,
Never quit.
yeah, I mean, I know I've stressed it before, but he does play well defensively too. I think it's an underrated part of his game. But you can see by all of these that he's when given ice time. I don't know why they didn't call that offside, but I think
he brought it
because
back.
it's a special tournament, they just kind of let it go. But look at this pass. He delayed it and then fed it over.
So
and there's Rottenberg presenting the cup. Oh, no, that wasn't Rottenberg. Sorry. Yeah, looked like him. But look at here. Yeah. Oh, here's Rottenberg. Okay, look at him. Oh, you MVP. Here. Next game, you benched again.
Yeah.
And, MVP. And then, do you see that, Rottenberg? You see that guy's good?
That's what happens when I play.
No, the cup. Look at that. It looks like it's crooked and everything, eh? It's like the Russian Stanley Cup. But look at what Rottenberg does here at the end. He
shoved them.
Yeah, and then, was he saying back to the bench, next game for you, and then gives him a shove, or whatever, But why did it have to be him presenting? I'm sure, you see Demidov smiling there, but it's fake smile, you prick or whatever, thinking to himself. But anyway, it seemed funny that it had to be Rottenberg making the presentations, and
ironic.
Anyway, we got a little clip of Rottenberg here. I noticed at the start of a game, it's the national anthem, right? And he's singing at the top of his lungs, right? Only one, right? But this is why, it's Russia, 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 Remember Marcia? No, you wouldn't remember Marcia. With him, it's Russia, Russia, Russia. But I got a Russian lip syncer to a lip reader to break down what he was actually saying there at the anthem. So I don't know if you wanted to.
Yeah, let's run it back.
I bench my best player because he leaving Russia. That's what he was saying.
Yeah. I think you're spot on there.
Yeah,
I think you're spot on.
So that's I just wanted, if you're wondering what he was saying, I got a lip reader told me that that's what he was saying. That's what he was singing at the top of his lungs. So, he's Rottenberg is his name.
Fitting name.
Anyway, how many? I'm counting. I've got the calendar up, and I stroke off each day. Days till Demidov's out of SKA, and again, that won't change how he thinks. Demidov, in every one of these times he plays in a tournament, he's the MVP, right? And this is the best young players in Russia, and he's the best. But no, because he's not signing a contract with SKA and staying, he's getting blackballed. Is what's going on. So
pretty clear.
March can't come soon enough, and we'll see him. We'll see him in North America at that point.
Yeah, you said it. Can't come soon enough. But still, nonetheless, he is our Insta Customs Habs prospect of the week for the performance he put on there in that tournament. Remarkable stuff. The MVP, of course. What can you expect other than that? We're not done, however. We're not done because you want to talk about every drafted player for the last 2 years. And may I suggest we start with the guy who was picked in the first round as well in the most recent draft, Michael Hage, who put on an absolute show again in overtime, scoring the winner again. Let's have a look at that.
Up by the line, Michael Hage. Here he is. Score! Michael Hage! Game over!
What a snipe.
He gave me a pass and set a pretty good pick, and I just tried to take a puck to the net, and fortunately it went in. But it's a big one for our group. I think obviously getting that first goal and getting back in the win column is just huge for us. Obviously it sucks when you're in a slump, but good teams find a way to get out of them. So it felt good.
Woo-wee. That's natural right there.
You can't pick the corner any clearer than that, can you?
He might have seen some Patrick Laine videos there.
Oh,
it was
my goodness.
Pinpoint accurate. Michael Hage.
You notice that he still needs to put some meat on those shoulders, doesn't he?
Oh, no doubt. No doubt about that. But once he does fill out, he's got good frame. He's like 6'1" at least. He's got a good frame, but definitely this year in college is going to be essential for him, right? Take the year, get stronger, get bigger, get faster, get better. And then next year, anything's in the cards.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, he's tied for second in college hockey in goals per game behind Ryan Leonard, who just happens to be a 19-year-old sophomore picked top 10 in the draft. And that's the only guy that's he has 10 goals in 15 games, right? Including 4 game winners. I was looking, he's only averaging 14 minutes a game or a little more than that. So I had to look at his goals per 60 minutes, 2.85 goals per 60 minutes. That's the best mark in college. So Leonard is averaging 2.08 goals per 60, and he's 2.85. So almost a goal more per 60 minutes. So imagine if he was playing 19, 20 minutes like Leonard. Imagine if he had Gabe Pro and James Hagens as his line mates.
Yeah.
So you got to be impressed that, there's work to do away from the puck, and we've touched on that. Yeah, he's got to get bigger. We just saw that, but another year, one more year of college. Trip to the World Juniors next year is, I think,
you have to think,
pretty much going to have to be a lock. They didn't take any college guys this year, though. Even Wood got Wood got cut, but I think there's no way that he doesn't. And same with Seneca if he ends up.
He has to.
He better make the team next year. But yeah, it's very exciting future with this kid in Montreal. He's definitely got top 6 offensive upside all day.
No doubt about that. That's these pure offensive players. They just have it. You know what I mean? And the Habs haven't exactly had many of those guys, and they just drafted 2 in the last draft. So pretty special stuff. I can't wait to see him. He's a great player.
Yeah.
All right. Who else are we going with? This is your show.
Yeah.
You're in control now.
Why don't we go Protzy next?
Owen Protz, friend of the show. Let's have a look.
2 goals, 2 assists in his last 10 games. He had a 2 December 6th versus Peterborough. Here we go. 2-goal game.
Hello.
There he goes. And he doesn't even do the big celebration, eh? Notice that he walks the line, eh? Anyway, right here, I walk the line. People that watch the show would know.
Yeah.
Protzy would know. But there's a nice shot.
Yeah.
So give him a little bit, showing off the offensive chops there a little bit. Good for Owen. Rooting for him 100%. I hope he. I hope he makes the NHL someday. He's got 4 goals and 11 points in 29 games, but that's not his game, right? He's going to be a physical force out there and play huge minutes on the PK, shut down, late in games and all that. He's averaging more than 22 minutes a game again, just like last year, including 231 on the penalty kill every game. So he's, just exactly as advertised, a tough, hard-nosed defensive defenseman. And hey, he'll chip in the odd goal for you here and there too. Bit of a David Savard type type of player, I would say. Kind of a similar build, similar size too, but maybe with a bit more of a hitting edge to his game, right? So keep working on his skills, keep working on his skating, and he'll be a really good AHLer. And who knows, maybe someday he'll get a look with the Habs. But we're pulling for him 100%. Maybe the best interview we've had as far as character goes. He's
up there.
He was a peach.
Yeah, he's up there for sure.
Logan Sawyer.
Let's do it.
Logan's starting to heat up there. He grabbed the goal and assist this weekend, and we got both of them here, so we'll have a look.
Oh, pizza.
Look at this.
Pizza. Yuck.
Yeah. I mean, that wasn't,
He still put it in.
It was because of his diligent forechecking, but I mean, hey, he got the opportunity and threw it in, right?
Yeah.
Now, he's got 5 points in his last 9. And while that's not eye-popping, it's I'm not sure what the guy was thinking there. But hey, we'll take it.
Yeah.
I mean, and here's the assist. Now, this is really nice. First of all, to stay on side, take it off his skate, and then the pass over. And we'll see it on the replay that just how that was nice. Too bad you couldn't see it go off his skate. But then the pass, beautiful. Here we get a little better idea of him, just how he was able to receive that and stay on side. And then I love the pass right on the tape. So two nice points for him this weekend. And it's nice to see that he's starting to get he's been mostly a bottom 6 role, and that's understandable for a freshman on a they're a pretty strong team there, Providence. So averaging 13 minutes of ice time. He's adjusting to the faster pace and higher skill of college hockey. I mean, he played in the AJHL and BCHL last year, so it's a big jump up. And typically it takes a year for kids coming from that level to really hit their stride. There's the odd exception, obviously, like Cale Makar, but he's an exceptional player, right? I mean, those kind of guys are gonna doesn't matter where they came from. And but look for those numbers to go up next season. One more productive off season. He's got to get stronger. We saw him at the development camp, and strength and skating have to keep coming, and that'll come with time. And another productive off season. What's great about these kids that were just drafted, there's none of this distraction their first summer after. No NHL draft, no combine, none of that stuff, right? It'll just be train, hit the gym every day, put on that 10 pounds or whatever that he needs to put on, 5, whether it's 5 a year or maybe 10 this year, whatever it is. Work with the skating coach. They all do now. We didn't have skating coaches when we were, I know I didn't. They didn't even have hockey schools. Like there was one rink in the whole Ottawa Valley that was open in the summer. But anyway, these kids have all the best facilities and development available to him, and he will take advantage of that. He gets faster and stronger. He's got wicked puck skills, and you'll see next year will be his breakout year, I think. McCagg he's played 10 MHL games. He's been back in the MHL, which is the junior league in Russia. In recent games, he has 2 goals and 5 assists, which is a little disappointing considering, he's been up at the KHL and VHL most of the year. I think he's got to be over. He's been playing with Ryabkin, and Ryabkin has been sucking hind teeth, as they say. So maybe he's got to go on another line. But normally you'd say, well, he'd have more points. But Ryabkin's not playing well either, so I don't know if that's on Canadiens, but he's -5 average, 15.41 in ice time. I'd like to see, he should be at least a point a game guy playing at junior level at this point. Like, he's 19. It's time to step up, and I hope he gets rolling. I think part of it is that these guys that get called up to KHL and don't play you lose a bit of your edge, right? You get a little bit out of game shape, and he's come back, and I think it's going to take him a little while to get rolling, but like to see that over a point a game because he's an offensive player. He's not going to make it as a checker. So, but he played 7 games in the KHL earlier and was pointless, but he only averaged a minute 35 in ice time. So there's where you lose your edge a bit, where you're either sitting in the stands, sitting on the bench, or playing 3 shifts. That'll that'll hurt anybody's development. And he played 2 VHL games and was pointless there too. So he turns 20 in March, and he's known for his offense. So hopefully, I hope they just keep him in junior the rest of the year and let him get a good ice time, let him get back in shape. And I think hopefully he gets rolling offensively, because that's what he's going to have to do, is get points. So, but a lot of people have been asking about Koivu.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't make the World Junior. The only player that did make the World Junior from the Canadiens organization was 7th round, second last pick in the draft, Rasmus Bergqvist. Now, if you'd have told me going into the year that, the only Hab that's going to be at the World Juniors is the 250th overall pick or whatever the hell, I'd have said you're crazy.
Yeah.
But I'd never even heard of the guy, honestly, when they picked him. I was like, who's this? I had to go, you can't scout everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, hey, and also, if you'd have told me that a guy I think he has 1 point this year, is averaging 11 minutes of ice time a game. If you'd have told me all that this guy's going to be on the World Junior team, I would not have believed you. But the reason is 21 games in the SHL, right? He's a regular in the SHL. Maybe it's third line, bottom 6 or bottom pairing for Skellefteå, but he is playing every game at the SHL level, and he's pretty decent, good size, good skater, half decent defensively. I don't know. He might be the 7th guy for them, or I don't expect him to play a lot but you never know. Hopefully he gets in the regular rotation. We see a fair bit of him, and it'll be really the first time for Habs fans to get a good look at this kid, because I'm sure most have never seen him play. So good for him that he made the team.
Yeah.
Unfortunate for Koivu, but he had mono, right? And he was out 5 weeks. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, he's out. He's still out, but no, he came back this week. Yeah. He played Friday and Monday, and he picked up a goal and assist. So here he is. He gets the puck here and puts her in. So he's back in junior. I know he's TPS, right? He's kind of played back and forth, but hey, after having mono for 5 weeks, back to junior, right? Only makes sense. But there's the assist. He made a nice play to get the puck, steal the puck, and get it up to the fellow that was in the last game yesterday. So point a game in his first 2 games back, TPS. Just getting back at it. He's a really good bet to play at the World Juniors next year. Look for the Canadiens to have quite a few guys, I think, next year playing at the World Juniors, likely including some guys that they pick. Looks like they're going to have a top 5 might have a top 5 pick again in this draft. And then Calgary starting to look more like Calgary, and they might get a 10 to 20, 11 to 20 pick there too.
Mm-hmm.
Those two will likely be good bets. Hage, as they've been calling them. I don't know if that's kind of got a cool ring to it, Hage. So, Purple Hage, look for him to be there next year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Sawyer, probably not, doesn't stand a chance, but I think Koivu makes it next year. And then they get a few guys. They've got a number of high picks again coming up in this draft. So next year will be a different story. Canadiens fans will have their eyes a little closer on on what's going on at the World Juniors with their prospects.
Yep.
Quentin Miller.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, how do you pronounce?
Well, I always said Quentin Miller because he's got an English name, but he's francophone. So in French, it would be Quentin Miller. But okay, I don't know which one he prefers.
Because when I interviewed him at the development camp, I was expecting no accent, and he had a very thick French accent because Miller last name, right? And it just, you don't know, right? But
yeah,
he's definitely francophone. But so it's probably, as you pronounced it there, Quentin. Yeah. Okay. Quentin Miller. Quentin Millet, we'll say. Big season was expected out of QM at the for the 2025 Memorial Cup host in Rimouski, right? That's why they traded for him, basically, because he was going to be their starter. Steady presence for them on their way to the Canadian Championship, but shoulder injury in camp, right? Had surgery on like the 16th of September. Expected to be out 6 months. Well, that basically means the entire regular season at least. Now, I don't know what if the plan will be to have him back at playoff time or not, but 6 months takes you to mid-March, and they'll just be starting the Q playoffs. But presumably, since they're going to the Memorial Cup, it'd be more than 8 months after his surgery. Mm-hmm. And if it is a 6-month rehab, out, then he should be healthy for the Memorial Cup. Now, whether the kid that came in and then replaced him, William Lassell, he's been terrific. He's gone 13-2, 921 save percentage. So, I suspect that he won't play again this year, but could be back for the playoffs, could be back from Memorial Cup, and if the other kid struggles, they'll have Miller there to go in, to plug him in. But I don't know. When it's a 6-month shoulder surgery, you're probably best to just like they did with Doc last year, right? Give him a full year to recuperate and come back for next year. But it's too bad because they did pick him up, and would have been a great experience from this year playing on a team that's hosting the Memorial Cup and being the de facto starter. But we'll see. Unfortunate for him, unfortunate for the Habs, unfortunate for Rimouski, but they look like they're making do just fine without him, with the kid that's 13-2. So that's good for them. I'm glad that that this other kid came in and stepped up.
Yeah.
So Tyler Thorpe, the Torpedo. 2 goals, 5 assists in his last 10. He had a 3-assist game here. Nice feed. He's been kind of, his all-around games come on really good this year. Look at that pass, eh? That was pretty fancy for a 6'5" kid there. The old behind the back pass, and it was a nice. He's good at keeping pucks in like that at that height. He's like a volleyball player, right? But there's a nice steal too. And then the feed, and then the guy tossed the. Even if he missed the net,
That's still a goal. Yeah.
That was a goal. But I got a kick out of that. But that was 3 assists he had in last Sunday in the Vancouver win. So he was in the running for prospect of the week till we saw the Demidov show the MVP. We thought poor Ivan, he may not get another chance to be prospect of the week till he leaves SCA. So we figured better give it to him.
That's it. We're gonna have a highlight tape of him drinking water and opening the gate on the bench.
That's right. And Rottenberg would approve too, I'm sure, if I asked him. Oh yeah, he's prospect of week for sure. But yeah, again. But that's he's got 12 goals, 14 assists in 30 games. That's a little disappointing, I think, maybe, because he was close to a point per game last year. I thought, he's on pace for 27 goals, which isn't bad, but I was thinking maybe 35 or 40, and I guess it's still possible, but he'll have to pick up the pace a bit. Yeah. The coaching staff sure relies on him heavily in all situations. He's averaging more than 21 minutes a game in ice time. So again, you'd hope for better stats than that, considering how often he plays. Like his points per 60 isn't great, or his goals per 62, but that's really high numbers for a winger, especially. You see centers sometimes and defensemen, that play 21 minutes, but rare for a winger to play that big. So, he's playing just under 3 minutes per game on both the first power play and the first PK. So coaches love him. He's all around this is good. He's a good bet to be a bottom line, to be in the running for a bottom line NHL spot that'll be able to go out, kill penalties. Big kid, he can hit, good in the corners, good along the cycle. He's playing a solid all-around game, and that's going to be he's not going to be a top 6 NHL forward on the Canadiens. It's just not going to be his role, but it looks like he's developing as a bottom 6 guy, doing the things that he needs to do to become a, down the road to have a good shot at being a bottom 6 NHL winger. Fowler having another sensational season. What can you say?
Ridiculous.
He's tied with Michigan State's Trey Augustine with an .821 win percentage. Not bad, eh? And that's ultimately the most important stat, really, for a goalie is win. Eh? Just win, baby. Doesn't matter how you do it. He's, leading your team to victories. 1.73 goals against average, .933 save percentage. Both top 10, obviously, but amazingly enough, it's like 8th and 9th for both. A lot of stingy goalies in the NCAA. But what's most impressive, I think, is his consistency. He has always won, and he's always stopped pucks. Going back to his rookie year in the USHL, 4 seasons now, his record, 81, 21, and 6. That's a .778 win percentage. That's Ken Dryden. That's in Ken Dryden's realm, He'd be the only one that ever over any length of time had a win percentage like that high. So he's just a winner. And he can't, just like Demidov, he can't get here soon enough because there's a spot waiting for him.
There's a big need. Yeah, he's not in a bad position at Boston College. Great team, great organization. They're actually playing him. However,
true.
What you mean is that there's a pretty significant need in net at this very moment. Yeah.
Well, if you could sign him, he'd be playing. He'd be playing at the very least. He'd be playing in Laval and maybe even playing for the Habs right now. So, it's. I don't want Boston College to go to the Frozen Four. Selfishly, I'd like them to lose out in the regionals and for him to sign as soon as possible. But no, part of me doesn't want them to win, but then part of me does, because then it'll be in large part due to him, right?
Exactly.
Philip Eriksson
Mm-hmm.
playing a bottom line role for Vaxio in the SHL most of the time, but he has seen an increase in his ice time in his last 6 games. So 10 games ago, he was playing 3 or 4 minutes a game, but in his last 5 of his last 6, he's played almost 12 and a half minutes or more each game. So he's playing a top 9 role right now. He picked up a great assist in his last game and had 2 goals and an assist in his last 9, which is pretty good. He just turned 20, so his time will come at the SHL level, like perhaps even in the second half of this year. Like, we're already seeing an increase in his ice time, but we don't have a clip on him, Shaner.
We do
or
not.
do we? Eriksson?
None on
I
Eriksson.
made it, but I didn't send it. Well, son of a gun. Okay, sorry about that, folks. He did have a really nice assist. You'll have to trust me on that. Whenever he plays a top 9 role, he's effective. His skating has improved. He's competing hard. Love the kid. I don't know if he'll ever be an NHLer or not, but for a 6th round pick,
Good value.
looks great. So Bogdan Konyushkov, we've seen a regression in his offensive production this year, despite averaging like 23 minutes a game and 252 on the power play. So he's on the regular power play. He had a 3-assist game in November, but in the other 21 games he's played since late September, he has not got a point in those games. And that's despite playing 252 on the power play every game. So last year he had decent offensive stats. So I don't know what's going on there with him, but he's not progressing in that regard. Now, being right-handed, that helps his cause forever cracking the Canadiens, obviously. But he's a 6-foot defender, not providing much offense, not really a physical player, safe to say. Love his skating. He's good with the puck, all those things. But I think it's safe to say at this point that he's a long shot to play in the NHL. Maybe he never even ever comes over, right? But again, mid-round pick, been a regular in the KHL for 3 years now. Really good KHL defenseman, wears a letter. He's only 21, so who knows, right? But if he does come over, at the very least, he'll be a very good AHL player. And I don't think you can ask for much more than that from a kid picked in the middle rounds. Sammy Harris, after starting the year as a top goal scorer in college hockey, he's cooled off in the past 3 weeks. Like 1 goal in his last 7 games. Now, despite that, he's still tied for 4th in the nation in goal scoring. So that tells you how good a start he had. He's got 11 goals. I mean, and it's not just him that's cooled off. Like, after starting the year going undefeated in their first dozen, the Pioneers have lost 4 of their last 6. Go figure that, right? So he's not the only one that's cooled off. Remember, like, his shooting percentage after 10 games, remember we were saying 40%?
Yeah.
You knew that wasn't sustainable, right? Well, that's part of the reason. I think we could predict this coming, that he would cool off in the goal scoring department, because he wasn't going to keep scoring on 40% of his shots. So still a long shot to be an NHLer, but another great late round pick all the same. And safe to say that he's impressed as a late round pick as well. Evgeny Volokhin, great in junior once again, but 7 games in the VHL and KHL. And I was wondering about that, because the junior team that he's played for the last 2 years, it's like a brick wall there. They allow about 2 decent chances a game. So even though his save percentage was insane last year, it had a lot to do with the league and then the team. Now, we saw when he's gone up, like he's played with Sochi this year. He's a backup now. His goals against average is above 400 in the KHL and VHL, and his save percentage is 860. So, I think people are getting a little better idea that maybe he's not all that in a bag of chips. Like you can look at stats and think, oh, this guy must be good. But when you looked at his game and just how few really golden opportunities he has to ever have to save in junior, that's the main reason why he had such great stats. Still a decent prospect, but all the people would say, well, what about Volokin? Is he not a future NHLer? And well, we'll see. But I think, what he's done outside of that Mamonte Ugri, pump the brakes a little bit, and we'll wait and see. But I think his stats were overinflated because of the team he played on and how good they were defensively. Now, Luke Mittelstadt, no goals, 8 assists in 20 games this season, but he's been solid defensively. Plus 13 for Minnesota, University of Minnesota, averaging 16-28 a game, regular shift, both the PK and power play. Again, a 7th round pick, and left-hand defenseman. He's got to be about 15th on the depth chart. So, a good college player, but I wouldn't get too excited about him becoming an NHLer. The odds are against him, and that's fine. Benny Merrill playing in Penticton in the BCHL. So far this year, 8 goals, no assists in 26 games.
Alex Newhook?
Yeah. No points in his last 8, averaging 11.05 in ice time, which is, 3rd, 4th line usage. Year after year drafted, playing in the BCHL, 8 points in 26 games. As we saw it by that tape that I did after he was drafted, at how much he has to work on his skating. Safe to say he was a late pick for a reason, and there's a lot of work to do. They conceded at the time that he needed a lot of work. He was coming from high school, so very, very raw. I don't even know if he's ready for college next year, but I assume he's going to college next year. But they've got a 5-year wait on him, and we'll see. We'll see if the skating comes and the rest of his game comes over the next 4 years. But he's going to need it all. Mikas
Vekvanags.
I know that's not how you pronounce it, but that's
The
phonetically
Latvian
what
kid.
it is.
Yeah.
He's in the BCHL too. He's very much the backup netminder there. The starter has played 20 games and leads the BCHL in save percentage. Vecchi has started 5 games and is 46th in save percentage. So if you're a mediocre prospect in the BCHL the year after you're drafted, it's safe to say you aren't, you're not jumping in the NHL anytime soon. So, again, at a late pick, 5th round, and I don't think safe to say that I thought he was going to the Q, but then he ended up going one league down, and he's very much a backup. So, not too excited about that pick at this point. It's safe to say. I don't think, but again, especially a team like Montreal with what I consider to have the best prospect pool in the league. Most of these guys aren't ever going to play for the Montreal Canadiens, let alone a 5th round pick from Belarus or, it's a long shot at best, but that's fine. You make the picks, you stock up the system, you're patient with them. With him going to, maybe he's planning on going to college. Maybe that's why he went the BCHL route, and that you'll have a 4 or 5 year to hopefully have them develop. So you just be patient with these guys, and sometimes it just takes time, and they blossom. You know, I don't know how many undrafted college guys that end up becoming signing as in their senior years or junior years that were really, that just bloom as their college career goes along. So you never say never on these guys, but there's a rundown on all of the drafted guys from the last 2 years, and some real gems and some disappointments, some surprises, little mishmash of everything, but a solid group overall.
And I know you wanted to talk about a guy who was drafted in 2022, Vinny Rohrer.
Yeah, I did. Vinny had 3 assists in a game recently. Had a little spell where he wasn't playing a heck of a lot, but Crawford's been back in Crawford's good books, and look at this assist. That's a beautiful one.
Yep.
I really like this kid. I think, again, with Montreal's depth in the system, you never know, but boy, his skating has come on a lot. He's very smart and very competitive. So I've loved him this year whenever I've watched him. And I think he's one of the Canadiens prospects that's really, really come on and is a bit of a surprise. Look at the effort on that for the empty netter to get the 3rd assist. So playing in, Swiss league, very good league, putting up points, playing well, competes hard, skating's come a ton. He's a dark horse prospect in the system, that a little bit of a kind of a Jake Evans type feel to him. A lot of similar size, similar two-way game, similar that his skating is just kept improving. So he's the Jake Evans in the prospect pool that I think will only keep improving, and will, down the road, if he comes back to North America, will be a good AHLer at the very least.
I like it. Jake's having a heck of a year, so that's not too bad to have in the prospect pool. Great stuff, Grant. That's awesome. That's awesome. It's good to hear from all the picks, right? We have a rotation of, the big ones really, who are usually the Habs prospects of the week, but it's good to hear from the others as well, because there's always that obscure one that you don't think about that just rises up and becomes a regular NHLer, like Jake Evans was picked in the 7th round. So I think it's a really good exercise to keep up to date with all the guys. Before we head out, Grant, however, I do want to remind everybody to go over to Betway. Okay, if you haven't already, go all the way with Betway, and you can get a free bet up to $200 if your first bet loses. Okay, scan the QR code on the screen or click on the link in the details section to create an account and redeem your welcome offer. The offer is only available for new customers. Terms and conditions apply. Offer is not available in Ontario, and you must be 18 plus. Please play responsibly. Look, I was a bit early with my pick. A few weeks back I said you could throw a few bucks on Lane Hutson goal. I had my dates mixed up. Okay, that's my bad. That's on me. So I'm gonna skip this week. I'm not gonna give you a pick. Okay, I'm gonna reset back, and I'll be back next week with a pick. I'm like, I'll give myself half a point there. So I'm like 1.5 out of 2 so far. Not bad. So
is there
this week?
Is there over-unders on ice time? Because I do the under on Demidov next game. If
I haven't looked, but I'm not sure we can even bet on the KHL.
Yeah.
Even if we could,
there's
I
my
know
tip.
Betway's too smart, and they won't even put that in the odds because they know that's an automatic win. So unfortunately, that's not how it works. But let us know. I want to know in the comments, however, what you're betting on. Let me know, and I might just ride that with you. So this week I'll skip my pick, but I want to hear your picks. That'll do it for us on this beautiful Sunday for our Habs edition. We will be back on Friday previewing the World Juniors and everything happening with the 2025 draft class. Grant, anything else before we head out?
Just click that subscribe button, folks. Really appreciate it. I put a little there it is.
You heard the man. You heard the man.
It's not a lot of work, but it really helps us out. Everything that can click those algorithms and get our podcast up near the top there of your viewing, viewer to watch list and all that. It all helps. So we really appreciate you watching our podcast. But if you are and you haven't clicked subscribe, it just helps us that much more if you do subscribe and those numbers keep going up.
Absolutely. Well said. Well said. So that's it for us. For Grant McCagg, I'm producer Shane. This has been another edition of the Sick Podcast, Recruits Draftcast. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. We'll see you on Friday. Take care.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast, Recruits Draftcast on YouTube, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.